What up, Hyperchange? Welcome to another episode. Been reading all this stuff in the news, in the media about Tesla killers, how Porsche is gonna come out with an electric vehicle that's gonna crush Tesla. This has been a headline as a Tesla follower that I've been reading for years and years and years about how there's always some Tesla killer on the horizon that is gonna put the company out of business. So I wanted to make an episode basically going through my high-level thesis of why I think all of the Tesla killer claims are 100% bullshit for now. Quick story time. In 2012, when I was investing in Tesla, following the company as closely as I am now, the Model S was just rolling off the lines. The thesis in the mainstream media was not that no one would buy Teslas, but everyone would buy Porsche's electric car. The thesis was that nobody was gonna buy electric cars, period. This was not the way the future was headed. The electric car was always gonna be a niche. It was never gonna go mainstream. I was such a contrarian, and Tesla was such a contrarian, thinking that the electric vehicle was the future. It's been really fascinating to watch the entire industry evolve from going from 100% denying that electric cars are the future, like remember Toyota sticking with hydrogen, they might even still be doing that, what the hell. And now basically every automaker is, by the day, you keep reading a headline of how they're investing all their money into building a battery factory, into electrifying their entire vehicle lineup, into launching the Tesla killer. Like all of these car companies' stance has pivoted from electric cars are not worth their time, they're a really small market, to this is inevitably the future of the entire auto industry. We're gonna scramble as fast as possible to keep up with Tesla and build this shit. Frame this conversation with every single Tesla killer you're reading about is in direct response to Tesla. It's one of these legacy auto companies trying to copy the model that they are seeing. This, in fact, to me, validates the mission of Tesla as someone who's watched the company grow up and everyone become a denier and now a copycat. Just from a gut feeling, you're always going to be one step behind if you're copying. If you're just looking at what Tesla does, trying to replicate them as fast as possible, that doesn't seem like a winning strategy. But anyway, let's get into it. Porsche Mission E. This is probably the coolest looking electric vehicle concept car out there. It's from Porsche, all electric, about 100,000, badass. According to the company, it's gonna have 300 miles of range, could recharge 250 miles of that range in 15 minutes with a special 800 volt sort of supercharger technology, slated to begin deliveries in 2019. The Porsche Mission E lineup also has a new crossover, apparently, that's also coming out in 2019. Similar range, sort of like a Model X competitor. Then I've also been reading in the news about this thing called the Jaguar I-Pace, which is apparently going on sale in late 2018, also sort of like a Model X competitor. There's also, of course, Lucid Motors, which is a startup founded by some Tesla executives that's trying to launch a $60,000 basically Model S competitor with up to a 400-mile range. Then we have Faraday Future, who is the company that was super hyped up as the Tesla killer and now is pretty much fizzled into nothing, basically going bankrupt. They are really hurting, so I'm not even giving them too much cred, but at one point they were heralded as a Tesla killer as well. Why am I not worried about these cars coming to market? Why are these not impacting my Tesla thesis? I have 7 reasons for you guys. Let's go through it. Reason number 1, the SuperCharger Network. This is an analog moat that Tesla has been building since 2012, incredibly high-speed charging stations all around the world. Now they have thousands of these stations in every single continent except for Antarctica pretty much, that are allowing their customers to charge rapidly. This is infrastructure they've been building out since day 1 in 2012 for 6 years. You know, it takes time to get the leases, to build up the charging, to master the charging technology. And this is something that automakers are just starting to catch up to now. Porsche, with the Mission E, who's one of the leaders in trying to compete with Tesla, is apparently teaming up with all these other automakers in Europe to build rapidly high-speed charging infrastructure all across the world as well. But they are just getting started today. They are 6 years behind, and literally their plan is basically to replicate exactly what Tesla is doing. So once again, I think copying the leader is not the best strategy, and it's so important to show how Tesla's first move to spend millions of dollars to set up this charging infrastructure is now turning out to be a mega advantage. If you're actually buying an electric vehicle and you really think through what that's like, having access to long range charging for road trips is an incredible needle mover. If you have an internal combustion engine car, you can drive anywhere in the country, road trips or whatever. If you have an electric car, you can't unless you have a Tesla. Whoops, got too hyped. Reason number 2, retail stores. Tesla has a retail store direct-to-consumer network that was designed by George Blankenship, who was the head of Apple's retail division and to design that. This is an incredibly unique and disruptive retail model that a couple automakers are barely starting to copy now. But once again, this is an analog moat that Tesla's been building out for about 6 or 7 years. These stores are located in very luxury high-end malls and shopping centers, And the biggest thing about these stores is they are a direct touch point to the consumer. Switching to electric vehicles, solar panels on your roofs, batteries in your home is a massive switchover of technology and infrastructure, and that requires a lot of education for consumers, and Tesla is able to offer that through its stores. You want to go in them. I would never take any of my friends to an auto dealership ever. That is so boring. It sounds like a nightmare, but every single time one of my friends come to the city, I take them to the Tesla store in Chelsea because it's so awesome and we can look at the Model 3. And the other thing about this is in the US, these car companies with the dealership franchise model that they've been distributing their cars with for years is totally broken. These dealerships and franchisees are relying on maintenance fees, and the problem with electric vehicles is they have way less parts, they break way less often, so they have way less maintenance fees, so the dealerships are not incentivized to sell them. Having your own touch point with the consumer is huge because you can push products even if they're loss leading because you know they're the future, and I think this is what every automaker is going to need to do to switch up their lineup to electric cars, but none of them are going to be able to do it because they don't own the distribution points. Reason number 3, batteries, the Gigafactory, vertical integration. 2014, there was a pile of sand in the Nevada desert. Now it is becoming one of the world's most advanced robot manufacturing facilities in the world. This move for vertical integration has cost Tesla billions of dollars to establish, and this is something that now a bunch of automakers and battery companies are trying to copy, realizing the Gigafactory is in fact the way forward. But this is just yet another example of an analog moat that Tesla has built that will take years to replicate. And why it's so important, and the Gigafactory, maybe actually the most important of all my reasons, is because Tesla at its core is a battery company, and by vertically integrating, they are, according to Elon Musk, they are going to be able to produce batteries cheaper that are more efficient than anyone else. And this is a huge cost advantage. You know, we can see Tesla's financials. We can see them posting 20% plus gross margins on Model S and X. We can't see any of the gross margins that any of these traditional automakers are having in their electric cars. And my guess is if we could, they would be losing thousands of dollars per vehicle because they're paying absurd amounts for their batteries. And if you'll notice, the range on these competing electric cars is always one step behind Tesla's. There's a reason why Tesla has the longest range EVs on the road and is selling them for 20% gross margins. I believe this is the start of evidence to show that Tesla has not only the cheapest batteries on the planet, but the most efficient as well. Reason number 4, none of these car companies are software companies. Tesla is a software company at its core. Its cars are basically computers on wheels. They are not analog, they're digital. And I think this is a fundamental difference from every other car on the road. Cars are becoming connected. They're becoming like huge smartphones that drive you around, that have neural nets embedded. This is an incredibly complex software product to build, and Tesla has a world-leading software team of engineers that is building it. You know, if I was a leading edge software engineer, where would I want to work? Ford, trying to catch up with Tesla? To me, I think Tesla is by far the best software talent. My evidence for Tesla leading in the software debate is over-the-air software updates. Tesla can update almost every feature in their car with these over-the-air updates. This is a huge edge and allows them to actually improve the cars over time. This is why I believe the resale value of a Tesla is going to be vastly superior to almost every other car on the road until they implement this, because they can constantly fix things with these over-the-air software updates. This brings me to my next point. Number 5, the stagnation fallacy. This is one of the biggest things that I've seen as an investor in the markets is people assume that just because something is the way it is now is how it'll stay forever, and this is a mega flaw when looking at the trajectories of disruptive technologies. Let me explain something. Okay, the Porsche Mission E with 300 miles of range, 15-minute charge time for 250 miles sounds amazing when you compare it to the Tesla Model S and X of today, but the Mission E isn't going to come out until 2019. I have already made videos and have a ton of evidence that leads me to believe that Tesla is about to make a major refresh for its Model S and X that will include significantly improved batteries. This could be looking at 350 to 400, maybe even 450 miles of range for these vehicles, which is going to make the Mission E look pathetic and be a joke. Also, in terms of the supercharger technology, yeah, sure, Porsche is building out a supercharger network that in theory is going to charge just as fast as the Tesla will charge today, but by the time they get that built in 4 years, it's likely Tesla will already have come out with the next iteration of its supercharger technology, which is even better. So the kind of point here is Tesla's always one step ahead. This is the problem with being a copycat, is you're always looking in the rearview mirror at what Tesla's done and trying to replicate it, while Tesla is thinking about 2 to 3 years in the future, and they have this mega head start because they were the ones who actually believed in electric vehicles. Reason number 6, Tesla has a true mission. There is a why behind the company. This is why I'm invested in the company and why I love Tesla, because like my shirt says, TeslaCon, shout out to Teslanomics channel, but We are accelerating the transition together. There's a massive movement of people who want to see the world go green and go sustainable and get us off fossil fuels, and Tesla is sort of the beacon leader of that movement. This has been their mission from day one, to go electric, to make no compromises, to transition the world to a sustainable transport system, and that is gives me such a powerful connection to the brand that I think cannot be understated. Okay, Porsche, sure, they're trying to go electric now, but look at what happened in 2015. They're owned by Volkswagen, who did the whole Dieselgate scandal, who was literally coding software into their cars to cheat on emissions tests, to pollute the planet, to ruin our health, to rapidly increase the rate of climate change. Like, these companies have no morals, and they prove that with these scandals. Porsche cars, Audi cars, Volkswagen cars, they're all owned by Volkswagen, were all affected and all had these issues. Even Mercedes-Benz had to recall 3 million of its vehicles. Like, I think if you do a little digging, you'll find out that the bulk majority of these legacy automakers with diesel cars were doing these really morally dubious things to cheat emission scandals. Sorry, as a consumer, I never want to give my money to Volkswagen. I've written them off. That's a company with a corporate culture of deceit to pollute the planet, to increase near-term profitability. I'm sorry. No. Every time you buy a Tesla car, you are investing in the future you want to see occur, and, you know, I don't know. I just think that Tesla has the why, their brand, their mission is a huge advantage. Reason number 7, this is my favorite one. If you're a Tesla hater and you've made it this far in the video, you are not gonna like this chart. Okay, I can give you guys all these theoretical things about why I think Tesla will win, all these reasons, but let's just look at the data. 2018 year-to-date sales for January and February of plug-in vehicles, not even just battery electric cars that have internal combustion engines, but everything that plugs in. The Model 3 is by far the best-selling car with 4,360 units. Number 4 best-selling car is the Model S. Number 6 best-selling car is the Model X. And it's important to remember the Model S and X have a selling price that is like 4 times as high as any car in this category, yet they're in the top 6 positioning of best-selling electric cars. And the Model 3, you know, despite all these production ramp issues, despite what you're hearing in the mainstream media about Tesla can't build it, is already the best-selling electric car in America. That gap is only going to widen. When you show me Mission E and Porsche putting up market share numbers like this, when you show me Jaguar's I-Pace putting up market share numbers like this, okay, then I'll believe it. Then you have a better product. But right now, the market share data, this hard sales data that's historical, is showing that Tesla is absolutely destroying everybody in terms of market share, despite being a significantly higher priced vehicle. This is, you know, the fundamental backbone of my thesis of why Tesla is gonna win. We are watching the data play out in real time. This is the Apple of the automotive world. They're controlling the most profitable high-end luxury segment of the biggest new growth market on the planet, electric vehicles. That is only gonna continue. We are in inning point 1 of watching this play out. If these guys can outsell Tesla, more props to them. You guys win. But until you just hype up a car that's coming out in 2019 that's gonna be as good as Tesla is today, that's gonna crush Tesla, like, talk is cheap, execution counts, and despite what you're hearing in the mainstream media, Tesla is executing. Look at the data. Like I was saying at the beginning of this video, the strategy of these legacy automakers to start desperately copying Tesla now that they're realizing that Tesla was right and that they are the future, just, I don't know, that just from a high level doesn't seem like it's gonna work. Like, you're always gonna be one step behind if you're just copying everything that Tesla does. So I don't think that's a winning strategy at all. This is Hyperchange. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Did I go too hard on this video? Am I right? What do you think about Tesla's market share positioning? See you guys next time. Peace.